Florida is setting a record right now that they should not be very happy about, I should say, and they have their government, Governor DeSantis, in blame to a large degree from my perspective. So this is from CNN. I'll link it in the description box. Florida shatters U.S. record for new coronavirus cases. So let's hear the just ridiculous mayor or governor, I should say, DeSantis. Basically, I said he was saying that all schools are going to open. Don't give a shit. We're experiencing record numbers. Schools are going to open. Disney World's also been open, even though 15,000 cases, shattering the record I think New York had set back in, I think, April. So let's see what this joker has to say. That's going to be an ad though. Let's see. Yeah. But I mean, and just the total lack of adequate response from the federal level, both from a public health and economic perspective, also isn't helping. But then you have ridiculous governors like DeSantis
I want to get your
adding
thoughts
fuel
on
to the
something
fire.
every parent is thinking about: schools. And this week, Florida ordered schools to reopen this fall. The governor said
Just
this.
ridiculous.
If you can do Home Depot, if you can do Walmart, if you can do these things, we absolutely can do the schools. I want our kids.
Jesus Christ! This dude really wants your kids to go to school and die. I don't know, to help Trump's re-election chances. So you can say, "Oh yeah, kids are back in school. Things are fine. Nothing to worry about." Like, people going to Walmart in order to, buy food so they don't starve is a little bit different than having your kid, sit inside a classroom for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, however long. And then obviously it's going to be the most vulnerable and marginalized, the school districts with the least amount of resources. They're not going to be able to adequately social distance, all that stuff. So this guy's a fucking nut job, and that reasoning makes no sense whatsoever.
Be able to minimize this education gap that I think has developed. It should not be a political issue. It should be based on the facts. And if we see that this is very low risk, and we see, I think overwhelmingly in every study, that the school kids are not vectors of transmission.
I mean, that last point is still, I think, under study. We know NIH is doing a study, in fact, on that very issue. But do you think if Walmart and Home Depot are open, schools should be too?
I don't get the analogy between a shopping center and a school. When kids go to school, they're there for, 5, 6 hours a day. Usually when you go shopping, you're there for a half hour, maybe 45 minutes. And to make that kind of analogy doesn't make sense to me. What does make sense to me is to make sure that when schools do open, they do so safely. We need to get this right. And I think it's important to also provide the option for parents and children to continue to online educate if they so desire and feel it's in the best interest of their child. There are many children across the country that have additional medical issues and are more at risk if they actually are forced to go to the classroom. I mean, that our Secretary of Education said that, all schools have to reopen next month. I think it really ought to be left to, number one, the parent's decision. Obviously, who cares more about these children than the parent themselves? But number two, the local school boards. I'm in Pinellas County, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and they came out with a good plan, in my humble opinion, yesterday, where they said that they would continue to have online as an option for children.
What is that? Senator Charlie Crist or something? So the Florida Department of Health has reported at least 15,299 new COVID-19 cases, the highest number of new cases in a single day by any state since the coronavirus pandemic began. The record number from Saturday was reported by the state Sunday morning. But it's not just the number of new cases that's concerning. The test positivity rate, which can indicate how rampantly the virus is spreading, reached 19.6% as of Sunday, according to data from Johns Hopkins University. Across the country, more than half of the states are dealing with increased rates of new cases compared to last week. more than half the states have paused or rolled back their reopening plans in hopes of getting the coronavirus. I mean, again, it's if the U.S. had actually handled this well from the start, we would be closer to what New Zealand is right now. A couple of days ago, they were able to declare there's no new cases, I should say, and basically able to open up the country again because there's no new cases. They listen to the doctors, they listen to the public health experts, and when you do that, you're able to actually, have it go away to a large extent and not still seeing record number cases. What we're it's July, mid-July. This shit really started to hit the fan in February or April, so 3 months in, and we're seeing record cases. And the U.S. has like over a quarter, I think, of all the cases in the globe. Again, another indicator that we don't want to be leading in, but we are because we're such a failed state in so many ways. I mean, Jesus Christ. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp slammed Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms' decision to move the city's reopening back to phase 1, saying it was merely guidance, both non-binding and legally unenforceable. It's clearly stated in my executive orders, no local action can be any more or less restrictive, and that rule applies statewide. That's pretty stupid. Fairly lucky to live in Washington State, where the governor, for the most part, I think is listening to the doctors, the public health experts, the epidemiologists, and kind of following their guideline and not making it a political issue, but actually looking at the science, addressing it from a public health perspective, which if we lived in any type of sane country, that's obviously what every state and the federal government would be doing, but it's quite clear we don't. In Florida, U.S. Rep. Donna Shalala said places like Miami are getting closer to shutting down for a second time. This is an American tragedy, said. It's out of control across the state because our governor won't even tell everybody to wear masks, she said. Miami Beach Mayor Dan Gilbert told CNN on Sunday that hospitals in the city are reaching full capacity. Wow. Almost 1,900 COVID-19 patients in Miami Beach have been hospitalized, with 400 in intensive care and 200 on ventilators, Gilbert said. We're going to have to start moving regular beds into ICU beds, Gilbert said. We're clearly being strained at this point. And again, it's going to keep getting worse and worse, especially when you have the Florida governor out there just speaking complete nonsense, wanting to sacrifice kids for whatever fucking reason instead of, it's nuts. The mayor said he is frustrated by the response from the federal and state government to combat the spread of the virus. There's a total disconnect between what is happening and what is being said out of Washington and even Tallahassee. I'm assuming that's the state capital. Fortunately, what is happening in some of these communities right here, Gilbert said, Governor Ron DeSantis has not implemented a statewide mask mandate, saying last week the state has stabilized where we're at. Oh my God. Yeah, it's really stabilizing when you just set the record for COVID-19 cases in a day yesterday. But he suggested Florida will hold off on the next phase of reopening, saying we want to get this positivity rate down. Across the country, more than 3.2 million Americans have been infected with the coronavirus, and more than 135,000 have died, according to data from Johns Hopkins University. You know what I've pointed out a couple of times in conversations with folks is that think about how the United States government on a federal level responded to the 9/11 attacks that I think killed around 3,000 people. We've had 135,000 people die from the coronavirus, multiple, many times more than died in 9/11, and look at the response to 9/11, spending billions of dollars, going into all those stupid fucking wars, all that shit. And when we can actually help people out from a public health and economic perspective, we get literally crumbs and just this horrible response from the federal government and a lot of these state governments as well. It's disgusting. At least 33 states are seeing higher rates of new cases compared to the previous week, according to Johns Hopkins University. Damn, that is not good. Alabama, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, etc. 14 states holding steady. It's the state I'm in. 3 states reporting decline rates of new infections. only 3. Damn. The new analysis of cell phone data across 10 coronavirus hotspots suggests that more people travel over the 4th of July weekend than during Memorial Day weekend, and mobility is one of the drivers of the virus's transmission, experts have said. The analysis comes from data by Cubic, one of the private companies used by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Houston, Phoenix, etc. I mean, yeah, look at the fucking crowded beaches, all that shit. It's pretty ridiculous that the United States has just completely mismanaged this whole coronavirus pandemic from the start. Obviously, both from a federal level and from a state level, as we see happening in Florida, setting record number of cases because the government's a fucking complete shithead. Complete shithead. Stay safe, people.